Okay, let's continue with chapter 6. In the previous lecture, I introduced how to define a method in Java program. The method we have learned, which can take the parameters, then return a value. However, sometimes a method possible doesn't return anything. That's possible, like I showed here. The function display, which takes a string as a parameter, but does not return anything. We are using keyword void. Void means I don't return anything from a function, because this function just print out something to the terminal, does not do anything actual. Let's check how do we use this function. In the main function, we call the display function, which takes the hello world as a parameter. Then I call this function again, pass a different function. So if we run this program, we're gonna print out these two strings. That's it. It's also possible a method has no parameters. Check here. This function get random. I don't give any parameters, but this function return an integer. I'm using this function to return a random value from 0 to 9. That's it. I don't take any parameters. If you guys still remember, we are using the function, random function defined in math class, which does not take any parameter either. Here, we are doing exactly the same thing. So it's very easy. We just leave the parentheses to be empty. Here, let's call this function. I write a for loop 20 times, repeat this statement 20 times. So which means I print out 20 different random numbers. Each number is a random number from 0 to 9. Okay. Let's move on the next piece. This one is very important. Actually, I introduced the idea of scope in last chapter. If you guys still remember, how do we define a local variable inside the while loop block or inside the for loop block? Okay, let's check here. Scope for a method, which means we can define variable in a method, but this variable is only available within this method. Let's check here. This function, I just defined a function called display. This function does not take any parameter, does not return anything. Okay, I'm using this one as a demo. Inside this function, I define a variable called int n equal to 0. Once I define this variable, it will be available for the rest of the function, which means the scope of this variable n will start from this line to the end of this function here. That's it. After we run this function, nobody knows what's the variable n, because this variable is this variable n is a local variable only available inside this display function. For real, this one is a very good benefit for us to write code, because it's very often we can use the same variable names in different functions. So each of them, they are independent. They don't bother each other. That's very good. Suppose I'm using number n, variable n in my display function. It's possible I also can use the variable n in my main function, but these two variables are totally independent. They don't have any relationships. That get everything easier. We don't have to think about how to give the different names in different functions. So that That's a very good benefit for all programmers. Okay, let me stop here. Thank you.